Hi, this video is on compound inequalities. This is a collection of Algebra 2 videos. We're in the Chapter 1 videos, that is the introductory kinds of videos. The previous video to this one, 1.4, was on solving inequalities in general. What is an inequality? Well, an inequality is any kind of equation, well, it's not an equation, but that involves a less than, or a greater than, or less than or equal to, or greater than or equal to. Any of those kinds of symbols are an inequality. So a compound inequality is where you're joining together in some way two different inequalities. And there are two different ways to do it. You can join two inequalities together in an AND kind of way, or you can join two inequalities together in an OR kind of way. Now, you know what and OR mean. I mean, you're not stupid. You use it all the time. And, or, you know these words. But what do they mean in math? Well, again, you'll know by the end of the video. But we might say that in math, we say that an AND combination is the intersection of two sets, or in this case, two inequalities. And the way you write that is with an upside down V. OR is the union of everything in the two inequalities, and we write that with a V pointing down as normal. I don't know if you know what mineral ore is, but ore is like gold or silver stuff in the ground. And I think of ore being down in the ground, and so the V for ore is pointing down. I don't know if that helps you. But basically, and intersections tend to be small. So like the intersection of two lines is a point. It's small. So and combinations tend to be small. Or means everybody is invited, and so ORs tend to be big. So the solutions to OR inequalities tend to be big, and the solutions to AND inequalities tend to be smaller. Again, if you don't fully understand, don't worry, the video is not over. Okay, well, let's talk about AND compounds. So as an example, 20 is less than 3x plus 5, which is less than or equal to 32. Now, this is a compound inequality because it has an inequality on both sides, right? It's really a combination of two inequalities. 20 is less than 3x plus 5, and 3x plus 5 is less than or equal to 32. Now, by the way, if this was an OR combination, the answer would be every real number, everything on the number line, because it would be everything that is greater than 20 and everything that is less than or equal to 32. That would be everything. And so an OR compound of these two would be everything. But an AND combination is just the numbers, the intersection of these two sets, just the numbers that are greater than 20 and less than 32, I mean, for which 3x plus 5 is in that range, I should say, and should have said before. Okay? Hopefully you understand what I'm saying. Let's move on. So how do I solve this? Well, I can solve it either by going for the one on the left or by doing the two separately on the right. So I might start by subtracting 5 from everything. 20 minus 5 is 15. 3x plus 5 minus 5 is just 3x. 32 minus 5 is 27. So I can just do it right there in the compound. I could have done it separately. So in the parentheses, I've done the same thing. Subtracted 5 from each side for both inequalities. Next, I'm going to divide by 3, and I'm going to end up with the answer. 5 is less than x, which is less than or equal to 9. Again, this is basically the combination of the two different inequalities put together at the point they intersect. Again, if I'd have done an OR compound, then it would have been every number greater than 5 and less than or equal to 9, which is every number. So OR brings in everything, and just brings in the intersection. Again, whether you're fully understanding this and or thing, hopefully you understand what I did on the left to solve this puppy. Okay, so here, how do you write it on a number line? Well, if you remember, for less than or equal to, you not only do everything less than, but you also have a solid dot on, say, the 9, because the 9 is included. It's less than or equal to. So you fill in the dot on the 9. But the 5, it's x is greater than 5, but it's not equal to 5. And so we don't fill in the dot on the 5. It's an open circle on the 5. So you can see, again, and combinations tend to limit It's just that little range of numbers between 5 and all the way including 9 are the solution to that AND compound. Okay, so AND inequalities are only true if both are true. Here's a different kind of notation. This is intersection. An upside down U means the intersection of set A and set B. And there's now this. Don't let this confuse you. Okay, what I'm about to put here, you might see it in a problem, but it's just another way of writing it. Okay, don't let it confuse you. But another way to write, for example, a way to write 2 is less than or equal to x, which is less than 3, is to write bracket 2, comma 3 parentheses. The bracket means that it's the 2 is less than or equal to x, and the parentheses means that the 3 is greater than the x. So the bracket means less than or equal to, the parentheses means less than, and then the 2 and the 3 tell you what the limits are on the numbers on the outside of it. Okay, that's called interval notation. Don't let it freak you out. You know, if you understand everything else in the video and don't understand that, I think you're still going to do just fine. And you can understand that if you just get used to it. Okay, let's talk about OR compounds. So, OR compounds are true if either of the inequalities is true. And in set notation, we do this with a regular U. That's the union of set A and set B. So, for example, x is less than or equal to negative 3, or x is greater than or equal to 1. So basically, if a number satisfies either of these, it's going to be part of the answer. So every number that is less than negative 3 all the way to negative infinity, and every number from 1 and all the way to positive infinity is going to be part of the answer. And I'll draw this on the number line on the next slide. Set notation, again, don't let this freak you out. Here's one way you might write it. So all the way to negative infinity on the one side, and less than or equal to negative 3 is what the bracket means. Union with greater than or equal to 1 all the way to positive infinity. That's another way of writing this OR thing. Again, if you understand everything else, don't worry. If your professor's mean, you know, he or she will work with you until you understand that interval notation as well. But the basic concept is pretty easy. So here's how you draw it. This is how you draw x is less than or equal to 3 and x is greater than or equal to 1. And again, because it's an OR combination, it's going to include both of them. I hope that was fairly painless.